I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'm going to do a roll call for the members present. Please say present when I say your name. I, Elizabeth Hunnicky, am present. Tammy Newman?
Present.
Seth Haight?
Present.
Lucy Kelly?
Present.
Mark Schneider?
Present.
Kenny Akins?
Present.
Sean Letty?
Present.
Others in attendance: Sue Temple, District Clerk.
Present.
Do you need to say present for those, Sue? Okay.
I don't
Carrie
think so.
Schultz, Interim Deputy Superintendent. No? Okay. So welcome to Delaware Academy's first virtual Board of Education meeting. The Board of Education members are attending from their homes. Others in attendance are Mr. Carrie Schultz, Interim Deputy Superintendent, Mr. William Petrelli, Interim Superintendent, Mrs. Susan Temple, District Clerk, Mrs. Julie Mabel, Elementary Principal, Mrs. Robin Robbins, High School, Middle School Principal, and Mr. Luke Paterziba, the Technology Coordinator. This meeting is being streamed via our website and Facebook page and will later be transcribed to comply with the current open meeting rules. There will be no public comments at tonight's meeting. If the public has questions, they can contact me, the Board of Education President, Elizabeth Hunnicky, or Carrie Schultz, the Interim Deputy Superintendent. Okay, so now we'll go to Section 2, Routine Matters. I would like to approve the minutes of A, B, and C, and D all in one roll call. So it'd be the minutes for February 24th, 2020, March 2nd, 2020, March 5th, 2020, March 9th, 2020. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
I need you to say who you are when you...
Ken. So moved.
Second?
Lucy Kelly, second. Tammy.
Lucy?
Both Tammy and
All
I
right.
both did it, so it doesn't matter who.
Okay. I vote yes. Tammy Newman?
Yes.
Seth Haight?
Yes.
Lucy Kelly?
Yes.
Mark Schneider?
Yes.
Kenneth Akins?
Yes.
Sean Letty?
Yes.
Any questions or comments?
I just had a correction on the typo on the 24th.
Okay.
It was under leave executive session, just a spelling error, motion, on a motion.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you. So the motion is carried. All right, now down to personnel recommendations, subject E. Be it resolved, the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the interim deputy superintendent, approves the personnel recommendations as submitted and amended. A motion, please.
So moved by Mark Schneider.
A second.
Second, Sean.
Thank you both. A roll call will be done. Elizabeth Hunnicky voting yes. Tammy Newman?
Yes.
Seth Haight?
Yes.
Lucy Kelly?
Yes.
Mark Schneider?
Yes.
Kenneth Akins?
Yes.
Sean Letty?
Yes.
Any questions or comments? The motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Madam President?
Yes, sir.
It would just be a little more convenient if you ask for questions and comments before the roll call.
Okay. F is the financial reports and the CSE recommendations. I would like to do them together. So motion, please.
So moved. Lucy.
And a second. A second.
Second, Tammy.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, Elizabeth Hunnicky voting yes. Tammy Newman?
Yes.
Seth Haight?
Yes.
Lucy Kelly?
Yes.
Mark Schneider?
Yes.
Kenny Akins?
Yes.
Sean Letty? And the motion is carried. Thank you very much. And now we're to the superintendent's report. Mr. Schultz?
Yeah, I'll go through a few items real quick, and then I know there's going to be a lot, many more questions from here because I'm going to have, when we finish basically the rest of the meeting, I'd like to have both Robin and Julie talk about where we are with academic learning and learning platforms and things like that. So I'm just going to give you a quick update where we're at as of today. The budget will be completed under 24 hours. That's at the state level. Best case scenario, flat aid from 1 year, from last year to this year. I think it's going to be worse than that. I really do think that you're going to see some cuts. If you don't see any cuts now, you're going to see mid-year cuts for next year and possible aid cuts this year. So slowly starting to put that together. It's going to be a little while until we get a full answer on if they're going to take any of the aid that is slated for this year. If they're going to take any of it. But I'll keep you posted. I think that's all going to come down probably the next 3-4 days. But at least we can get a starting point of where aid levels will be for next year. And I think that that's going to be a moving target also. I just don't know how they can sit there and project how far this is going to go and how much of an impact it's going to have on the economy, especially in this state. So we will have to be creative when we go to build this budget. I am not doom and gloom, but I will say that we might have to look at a few other options to make sure that we keep what we have currently in place the best we can. So just want to warn you, just give you a heads up on that. Budget vote and district vote are going to be moved to June 1st. That was announced today. And some of the other things that we are going to continue to feed students. We're about 186, I think was in the count today. It's working very well. I commend the kitchen staff and the transportation department are amazing. They've done a great job keeping this as so well oiled and so well put together, and it changes on a daily basis, and they're moving pretty quickly. So we actually did a lot of the prep work today that would be for Wednesday. So we're on top of the game for this week. We will continue to feed students during spring break. Anyone who decides that they do want to help out in the kitchen during the week, it's a volunteer basis. It's not, no one's getting overtime. There's nothing like that out there right now. So I just want to make sure that's clear. I also got clarification today also that the state has gone back and forth 3 times now on whether we will be educating during spring break. As of 4:45 today, they are saying, yes, you will be educating during that week. They want to continue the continuity of learning. Last Thursday, Friday, it was a no. They've changed their tune. When the governor moved from that April 1st closure to the April 15th, he then put that in place. So I've reached out to the union about 15 minutes prior to this meeting to let them know that. We talked about it on Friday. At that point, we weren't expecting them to, but now we're going to have some kind of language allowing that. I don't know how it's going to pan out though, because if we do come back, that's a big what if, we will be beyond the 180-day mark. We would be at like 184, 185. So we'd have to figure out a way to either get out early or there would have to be some kind of MOU in there. But we're really we'll look at that in the next 3 to 4 days. FEMA stepping in and will assist districts in losses during this time. I have to register with them tomorrow. We are documenting all expenses that are associated with this. We really have not had a lot of out of the ordinary expenses. We did buy 50 document cameras the first week of this, and that's about it right now. We haven't really gone, you haven't seen expenses spike because of it. Barely anyone in the building. And then on top of that, you really don't have a lot of big labor force in here, so or doing a lot of things for supplies and materials. I've been in touch with both DAPA and DESA. Last week we sat down, did an hour session, just a Q&A with myself, and just kind of brought them up to speed on a lot of what's going on, what's kind of transpired and changed. And I'll continue to hold those meetings with them every Friday. Childcare, I know we talked about it a little bit in my updates. Delaware Opportunities approached us and asked if we would be willing to give them space for childcare for health professionals and first responders only. That is only based upon if we end up in a situation where the hospitals are completely overrun, not overrun, I shouldn't say that, but filled to capacity, and you have staff that are needing to work 12 or more hours per day and don't have any daycare. Delaware Opportunities will completely take on the role, staffing, cleaning, feeding. We looked at the space, middle school cafeteria. It has a separate entrance. It has kitchen, and it has bathrooms and a pretty wide open space. So we figured that would be the best spot if we were to go with something like that. It would be a free daycare to those individuals, like I said, healthcare or first responders. They're canvassing and they're doing all the behind the scenes work and seeing what the need would be. I don't see it being that big. But then again, I've had a lot of things in the last 2 weeks I didn't think would happen and went full blast. So I'll keep you posted. And that's about it for my end of it. As far as some of the things that we talked about in the past, I will, if you want, we can start talking about learning platform, or if you want to finish the meeting and then go into that, and then we can have a really lengthy discussion. It's up to you guys. Any questions for me right now?
Carrie, I know there are FEMA funds available for activities and or things people have to buy in order to get through this period of time. So I'm just wondering, if there are additional things we need. I don't know if you guys have gotten word about that, but there are those funds there.
Yeah, we've done some stuff with academics, and I think maybe that would, and I don't know if as we progress more into this extended closure, whatever we do need, we just keep track of that as a separate account number, and then FEMA will step in. I haven't heard anything from, building and grounds of them needing stuff at this point because of being closed. I know Luke has looked at a few items. I don't know if there's anything else technology-wise that as we move forward and get into this a little longer that we could utilize, but I'll definitely keep our eyes out for it. Cafeteria-wise, the issue with that is we're purchasing a lot of food, less than what we probably normally as far as running the district if all the kids were here, but the issue is you're not bringing in any income. So those losses, FEMA will pick up also.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for Carrie?
I think I finally got online, so this is
Bruce.
Bruce.
So Bruce McKeegan has joined the meeting. Thank you, Bruce. All right, I'm going to keep going then, if there's no questions for Carrie right now. Policy review, please do the second reading of policies 1, 2, 3, 5, and 9. We will have no action in March of 2020 for that. Number 5, old business. We have no old business. Number 6, new business. I would like to do A, B, and C. The removal of the books from the library inventory, request surplus items in the ag department, and the surplus items in the athletic department. So a motion, please.
So
This is
moved.
Mark. Oh, sorry. Mark Schneider will second it.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Mark. Any questions or comments? All right, I'm going to do the roll call vote. Elizabeth Haneke voting yes. Tammy Newman?
Yes.
Seth Haight? Seth? Did we lose Seth?
Yes, I vote yes.
Thank you, Seth. Mark Schneider?
Yes.
Kenneth Akins?
Yes.
Sean Letty?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion is carried. Okay. Subject D, accepting a donation from Friesland Ingredients North America, Inc. The Board of Education accepts a donation in the amount of $2,000 from Friesland Campania Ingredients North America The Board of Education publicly expresses its gratitude for this donation. Thank you very much. Motion, please.
Ken Akins, motion.
Thank you, Kenny. A second, please.
Second, Sean?
Thank you, Sean. I'll do the roll call. Or any questions or comments? I apologize. Any questions or comments? And Sue, you'll write them a thank you note. Thank you for the donation.
Yes, I will.
Thank you, Sue. All right. Then there's no questions or comments beyond that. Elizabeth Hunnicky voting yes. Tammy Newman,
Yes.
Seth Haight,
Yes.
Lucy Kelly.
I'm off.
No, you're there, Lucy. I can see you.
Okay, hang on now. But everything is kind of, I'm getting a lot of echoes. Sure, yes. I vote yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Lucy. Mark Schneider,
Yes.
Kenneth Akins,
Yes.
Sean Letty.
Yes.
The motion is carried. Thank you very much. Academic calendar for 2020 and 2021. Motion, please.
This is Mark. I'm having trouble, or have had trouble viewing the academic calendar.
Can we put the calendar up?
Luke, are you able to do that?
I don't actually have a copy of it.
Hey, Luke, you might want to try to, I think Bruce's telephone line might be creating the echo. You might want to just try muting him.
Thank you, Luke.
I believe Lucy's in 2 sessions.
Yeah, she is.
So what should we do about the calendar?
I would like to see it if does anyone have it? If they can share.
I haven't seen it either. Just Sean.
Is this something we can
We can
we take
table it,
this up at the next meeting? Yeah, can we take this up in the April meeting?
Table it.
Yes.
Motion to table.
Thank you, Seth. A second.
Ken.
Thank you, Ken. So we'll table the approval of the academic calendar for 2020, 2021 until our April meeting.
Okay.
Madam
Thank you,
President,
Sue.
Madam
Yes.
President, you need to vote on that.
Oh, sorry. Roll call vote. Elizabeth Hunnicky voting yes. Tammy Newman? Yes. Voting yes. Tammy Newman?
Yes.
Seth Haight?
Yes.
Lucy Kelly?
Yes.
Mark Schneider?
Yes.
Kenneth Akins?
Yes.
Sean Letty? The motion is carried. Okay. F, the approval of the proposition for the bus lease for 2020. Do you need me to read this, Sue?
It's up on the screen. I don't think it's necessary.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. A motion, please.
So moved. It's Tammy.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Tammy. And second?
Second, Ken.
Thank you, Ken. Any questions or comments? Elizabeth Honicki voting yes. Tammy Newman?
Yes.
Seth Haight?
Yes.
Lucy Kelly?
I'm muted again.
I can hear you.
Okay, it says mute though. Okay.
Are you voting yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. Mark Schneider?
Yes.
Kenneth Akins?
Yes.
Yes.
Sean Letty?
Yes.
Thank you. And the motion is carried. And board comments. Does anyone have any comments? We can open up to how we're doing with our academics and our principals.
I would just like to share with the board that I was contacted by Jane Hamilton in the past week or so. She sent me an email letting me know that Lisa Montiero, who is the licensed mental health counselor, has begun working. She will be full-time at Dash once things get back to some level of normalcy.
Good news.
Just want to share that.
Very good news. Any other comments from anyone?
Madam Secretary, I have a couple of bullets I'd like to update the board with, if I may.
Please do.
All right. I just have several bullets. New York State Ed has relaxed their thoughts regarding related services of PT, OT, and speech, and basically is asking the providers to do the best they can. However, we'll probably have to attempt to make up services when possible. In reference to early intervention programs, they basically said that if the programs and the providers are not available, we will not have to make that up. They also noted that we probably will be having to reassess some of our students with disabilities and take a look at their supports, which may have to be intensified if there is signs of regression. The College Board will be offering online AP exams. The recent SAT exams have been canceled, and they have been encouraging flexibility with college admission process. And they currently have the next SAT exam scheduled for the first weekend in June, if possible. I'm currently meeting with the regional CSEs and New York State Special Ed rep weekly. I'll meet with them again tomorrow afternoon. This Thursday, I'm going to be holding 6 in-review meetings for our BOCES students. As you may be aware, Assembly Brian Miller has contracted COVID-19 virus and is currently in St. Luke's Hospital in New Hartford. I spoke to one of his aides today. He's stable, however, he's still in the ICU. Former Thomas Mills from our sheriff's department emailed me today and sent me a email on the Delaware County Department of Public Health. It says that currently we have 9 positive cases in Delaware County. There has been 125 people tested, and there still are 14 people's tests that are pending. That's about it, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Julie and Robin and Carrie, if you want to give us an update.
Sure, I'll start.
Thank you, Julie.
Sure. I sent out a survey to my staff last week and asked them, different things about how they're getting in touch with their students, how they're getting in touch with each other, how the special ed teachers are helping the regular ed teachers to meet the needs of our special education students. Ask them, some input on grading, where they see that happening for Q3 and Q4. As we move from review type materials and go into teaching students new materials, how do they see that working? So I got a lot of input on that, and quite frankly, I'm still putting that together. I keep having a few more answer me every time. I found out that I had one classroom teacher who hasn't answered me yet, but the rest of them have, and I have about 66% of my kids online with their teachers, which is better than some of the other districts. Robin and I were on with the BOCES principals last week, and almost all of them were on from the DCMO region. And they were reporting, around 50% or in that range. So 66% for my little guys, I feel is pretty good. And I'm going to go forward with having weekly meetings with my teachers via Google Hangouts, and also making a plan as to scheduling different subject areas on different days of the week so that we're not over inundating our kids, our teachers, or our parents. Because that is one of the things that I heard back on my survey, is that there is some overload out there. And so I want to address that. And as soon as I have that more concrete, I will share it with you, as well as share it with my staff. And as I said, basically it's coming from the survey that I sent out and their responses back.
Thank you, Julie. Any questions for Julie?
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thank you. Robin, would you like to update us? Is Robin here? Carrie, is Robin, or Luke, is Robin still here?
She's in. It says she's in. I can go over and check. She's in the office next to me.
Is she muted, maybe?
I know she told me that she doesn't have a camera, but she just emailed me a little while ago.
Oh, Robin said her speaker's not working. So maybe she should just run over to Carrie. Is Carrie's office? Carrie, is she in the building with you?
Sorry about that. Robin's right here.
Okay, I'm here.
Cool.
Sorry.
Perfect. No problem. This is all. This is the way it's going to be for a little while. We're all going to go through the bumps.
Yeah. So well, let me say that it's been a little bit more difficult at the high school end because they had all this wonderful technology and it was great. And they've been doing wonderful things with learning how to use Google Hangout and getting their lessons live. But my students have, not one teacher where they, they have 6 teachers or maybe 8 teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first thing I had to do was realize that a lot of them were doing their Google Hangouts at the same time. And so we made a Google Doc where they could start to record all their appointed, meetings that they were setting up. And then they were able to look at that and hopefully not have, conflicts. And that took us a couple of days to realize. I had students and staff, saying they can't get on with me because they're on with another teacher. And so as of Monday, after we had done it for a couple of days, we've gotten a little more organized on that end. But the other thing is that they have been giving almost as much work as they would give during a school day. And so I've had to keep, monitoring that and looking at it and trying to help them see that we cannot do things as usual online. There's a big, huge difference. So I've asked them to keep activity logs that they send me every Friday. And I've also asked them to keep track of their attendance so that we know which students are not showing. And so as of today, I have been keeping those totals, and I'll just run through those for you. I've got a Google Doc that I can share with you too, but Sixth grade, we have 39 students, and all but 2 have shown up, which is awesome. Seventh grade, we have 60 students, and 40 students have not shown up yet. Eighth grade, 55 students, 37 have not shown up. Ninth grade, 57 students, 29 haven't shown up. 10th grade, 57 students, 35 haven't shown up. 11th grade, 67 students, 34 haven't shown up. And 12th grade, 47 students, 16 haven't shown up. So I did the total math on that, and that's 380 students, 82 students, 6 through 12, 192 haven't shown up. So that would put us right at about 50% of our students not getting online. And I've started making phone calls along with some of the teachers, and we're finding out there are a lot of different reasons from not having, it's not so much that they don't have internet access, but with everybody being on it, it's caused a lot of, access problems, internet going in and out, poor connection, and also not having enough time to get, everybody on it during the day. Some of my
Can you remind me, when you say not showing up, what classifies as not showing up?
Well, and that's another thing. Some, for some teachers, that means they haven't heard anything from them. Some, it's they've actually joined their classroom or their hangout, but they haven't done any work. So it could be either or, and my numbers kind of change daily. We are seeing that more are getting on this week than we're getting on last week, so that's a good thing. But it doesn't account for what they're doing yet. I haven't gotten that far. It's just that they really haven't heard or hardly heard anything from them. And so, we're trying to figure out how to get them more engaged to start with. Some of our students are babysitting their siblings. And, I just don't know. Otherwise, possibly they're ill, I just don't know because we're not finding that all out.
So let me ask a question. If they haven't presented for all of their teachers, how do they, so let's say they communicated with 2 of them, but not 4 others. How does that get counted?
And that's, so in my count right now, they would show up as being counted in one of those counts. So it's not a perfect science yet. I have to actually go through and look at every single student, and I haven't been able to do that yet. I still have 2 teachers that haven't given me their attendance yet either. So, and again, it doesn't account for what their work is. I don't know that yet, or how the grades are looking or anything like that. Teachers are asking about that now too, like how would they grade? So it seemed pretty similar from what we were hearing from most of the schools, as Julie said. Most of them were saying it was about half and half.
Thanks for that.
Hey, Robin, Ken Akins. Have you heard anything from SE? Are we given 3rd quarter grades? And if so, does SED have any rhyme or reason how to do that?
We haven't been given any guidance on that yet. We actually, at our Thursday meeting, Julie and I have Tuesday and Thursday meetings every day, every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 o'clock with all of the principals in the DCMO BOCES. So we'll have another one tomorrow. We talked about that last Thursday, and I would say, and Julie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say probably 3/4 of the principals were saying they were going to try to look at a pass-fail type situation. Looking at 3rd grade quarters, especially, and coming up with something, a little different in the fact that it's going to be difficult to penalize these kids that haven't been able to get on. Now, we also, Carrie's been going to a superintendent meeting, and they are going to discuss possible grading policies tomorrow. But everyone's kind of in the same place trying to figure out what to do. And of course, we haven't gotten any guidance yet on regents. Will we be having regents or won't we?
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Have you heard from any of our guidance counselors about how, or the school counselors, how are they dealing with any issues that are coming up for our students? Is anything to report there?
I had a Zoom meeting with my school counselors Thursday, and I'm having another one tomorrow, and that's with all 4 of them. Matt has been getting on those too. And he's the only one that's had any students. He actually had 5 appointments last week. And they're reaching out to all of their students and trying to come up with ways to just, say encouraging words and just check in. But as far as of, this morning, because I check in with the school counselors daily. And as far as this morning, none of our middle school or high school students had been reaching out for, say, an actual appointment or a counseling session or anything like that. So they're not, they're finding that they're not being asked of that. And we haven't had any phone calls for that either, because we've got it set up so that people can call, here and leave a message or get a live person and we'll refer them, but we're not getting any. So.
Okay. Interesting.
Robin,
that is interesting.
When you're thinking about, this is Lucy Kelly. When you're thinking about grades, has any attention been given to the salutatorian and valedictorian for this year?
Those were already set. They actually, thankfully, our students, we figured that at the end of the second quarter. So, our top 3 are set. That's not going to change.
Great. Thank you.
And that would be with all the students in the senior class, for the most part, their GPAs are set.
This is Mark. Can I ask a follow-up question about ongoing counseling? I understand that all 4 of the counselors, to some extent, the guidance counselors plus other professionals, are engaged in regular counseling sessions with students that have either social support needs, mental health needs, family situations that require assistance. Are those sessions that were scheduled to occur on a recurring basis? Has there been any way that any of those can be handled through telephone or other? And if so, what kind of success rate are we having in getting in touch with those students? And I guess I'll just add a qualitative comment. This is something that is probably at least as concerning to me as the academic, avoiding academic backsliding or academic progress. I think, as many people are, very concerned about our most vulnerable students. And I don't know if one of the building leaders wants to take that, or Carrie.
Well, that is why I'm meeting with the school counselors daily, trying to find ways to reach out to those students. I mean, we have foster care students that I haven't even been able to get a hold of, DSS or their caseworkers or their house managers. So, and I've been taking that on myself because I know all those students, and I am very concerned about those students. But I'm not getting, and we can't really go knocking on their doors. So that has been our biggest concern. And I know the school counselors, when I talked to them on Thursday, I could see, the distress and discouragement, because they're not reaching out. They're reaching out to them, but they're not getting much response. So, and some of our highest risk students are the ones that are not showing up, academically either. So, I actually am putting together a letter right now for some of my, most at-need kids that way, and thinking that if I send that out, at least, letting them know that we're still here, but they're not responding through the email or the phone calls right now. And I don't know, it really seems like for elementary kids are doing, a little bit more. The parents are reaching out.
I think, and maybe Bill Petrilli, you can talk about the privacy, or Luke, regarding privacy about online. I think there's still a barrier there as far as doing a, Google Hangout or a Zoom meeting as far as counseling. Am I correct?
I think so.
Hello. Yeah, I talked to our counselors about a week ago, and as Robin said, there was very, very little communication. I mean, they were calling, but it seems like there was just a few specific students that really wanted to talk. That's kind of the feedback that I had. I did also tell them that I would suggest for them to continue, along with keeping a log of who they spoke to and when they spoke, and just going from there. And I'm sorry, I don't know if that answers your question, Carrie.
No, well, it does a little bit. Just one of the issues, I think people, at first we thought maybe we could do counseling through like an online or virtual setup, but I don't think you can due to regulations and laws.
Right.
Privacy. So that's, something that we're all experiencing, not just this district, but all the others also. Bottom line too is, I think we, when I emailed the board last Friday, it was really throwing everything against the wall at first to see what stuck, and now we're kind of letting the dust settle a little bit and trying to figure out what are the barriers and what are the hurdles. And a lot of those things that came up were things that we've never even thought of. We had a conversation about students not wanting to do online virtual or with a camera because some kids don't really want to show other people where they live or the environment. I know that we're, right now, I think we're kind of looking at a model that would be, and like Robin was saying and Julie, that we would schedule specific core classes on specific days. And that way everyone's not rushing and going at completely different speeds. I'd like to see if we can get everyone, kind of the analogy of on the highway. If we can get everyone between 65 and 75, that's great. Unfortunately, we have people who are doing 10 miles an hour and 120. And I think it's creating some anxiety between not only students, but staff. So our goal meeting today and talking about these different things, we talked about them last week too, is to try to build a model that really kind of schedules out everything for staff from K through 12. And it's interesting, as we were talking about this today, we talked about it last week, we're starting to see districts already move in that direction, and it's not things that we got from them. These are ideas that we were kind of throwing out on the table. So everyone's in the same, experiencing the same difficulties. I would say that we are probably better than most districts. I know there are districts, and I know Julie and Robin, you were in a meeting on Thursday, I think, or Friday, where districts are just rolling out technology this week. So I feel like we're ahead of the curve. I just feel that, whatever model we do put together is going to be perfect. Probably not, but our goal is to capture as many more, the numbers that we have now. It's try to increase those numbers each week.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, Carrie, I think, I think everybody's really working and doing a great job. Luke has offered, many ways, many opportunities to work with our kids. However, I think there may be some of our teachers that are just in the mindset that they have so much work to complete that they're working almost as fast and as tirelessly as they have been. And I think that once or if the state ed kind of relaxes, maybe they come up another week or two and say, well, regents aren't going to happen this year. It may give our teachers and hopefully our students a little bit more breathing room, because like I said, I think a lot of teachers say, hey, I have all this work to complete, and they don't really want to fall back. And I think they're still going that 101 miles an hour, and they think that they really have to do that. And I think it might be taking a toll on of a lot of our kids that are trying to keep up with that pace as if they were in school, and the other unforeseen problems that they have, whether it's babysitting for a little kid or making their own meals and just their own mindset. So I think more to follow, and hopefully things will be a little bit more relaxed.
Carrie, Robin, and Julie, have you gotten a lot of questions from parents of what kinds of issues or problems are parents having, or any comments from parents?
I really haven't. I had a couple emails early on before I addressed, or before, I shouldn't say I addressed, before we all addressed, the memo that we sent out and kind of relaxed people a little bit regarding the 8 to 3, Monday through Friday, and not on the weekends. I had a couple parents ask me, what are the expectations? They were, and really 2 parents asked me that. And they were, they were frustrated, and I'm sure that there were other people who didn't ask that were feeling that same way. So I think that memo eased people's minds. I know that Luke, as soon as he put it up on Facebook, emailed us, and there were like 24 hits right off the bat, like with a thumbs up that they liked it. And so I think it eased people's minds. I think that the staff in my survey were asking, just tell us what you want us to do, Julie, and we'll do it. And the thing is, everyone is wondering, am I doing enough? Am I doing too much? Am I causing stress? Do I need to push more? Where are we? And it's that way across New York State. It's not just our district. But there are questions. So very definitely the conversations that we have need to come down from us. This is what we're expecting. This is what we're looking at. This is what we're thinking. So, okay. And that goes for grading and academics, and all of that is a big circle.
Yes. Well, thank you for your efforts.
Yeah, and Robin isn't experiencing that either. We're seeing still the same thing. I'm getting more comments, and I'm sure Robin is too, and you can chime in. It's our staff, and I look at that as a great thing, because their dedication of doing the right thing and doing what's best. But I think that we can take, specifically, something like Robin's numbers, looking at those numbers today and saying, okay, now what are the other plans of attack that we can put together to make sure we capture? If we can get into a 70% next week, that'd be fantastic. People that are participating, so reduce that 60% to a 30, and maybe our overall 50% down to low 30s, and just keep chipping away at it. I don't think you're going to fix all of it, but I really think that now we see what's stuck on that wall, and try to put something together in the next 2-3 days that will really hopefully capture some more.
Thank you, Carrie. Does anyone have any other comments or questions they'd like?
Yes, this is Mark. I'd like to ask about what are you hearing in your discussions with your other peers about if an individual staff person at DA is aware of an acute, I shouldn't say is aware of, maybe suspects an acute crisis situation, either based on where things left off with a student, or what they've heard from a student, or the fact that they haven't heard from a student. How far can the school go in terms of intervention, and just to not, I think to give an example of something that might be considered extreme. Can someone show up at someone's house and knock on the door because we're concerned about their mental health or harm occurring to them or by them? And then a related question, which we don't thankfully need to answer quickly, is at what point, if we haven't heard from a student, even if we didn't think of the student as being particularly at risk, but if we're 3 weeks in, 5 weeks in, 6 weeks in, if we haven't heard from a student, do we need to treat that the same that we would treat, or in some way analogous to, they haven't shown up to school in that long and we're concerned about their health and safety, someone is going to actually go to that student's house and find out what's going on. So they're related questions. One is more urgent because I'm talking about acute crises, maybe kind of situations, and the other is just analogous to traditional or more customary truancy issues.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that at the principal meetings to that extent yet, because like Julie said, most people are still rolling out the materials and trying to, just figure out how to get everything to the students. We're a little ahead of that. We are definitely, the counselors and I are definitely making a list of my middle school, high school. Well, it's not really as much my middle school students, I don't believe, as it is my high school students, but all of those at-risk students that we already had concerns about, we still, are wondering how are they doing with this. So we will make a plan, even if it is go to their house. It's difficult right now because, even when we're delivering food, people don't want us to come to their house. They want us to leave it out on their front step. And they don't even want us to knock on their door. It's been quite interesting. So, it's a totally different time. And some of them probably wouldn't be very happy with me showing up at their house. But it's definitely something we're trying to figure out how to best help those students. So
the other thing I would add to that, if it's okay, is that we are still mandated reporters. So if we suspected somebody was being abused or anything like that, we still need to mandate that, or we still need to report that. And I would tell you at the elementary, and this came through on the survey too, my teachers may not be connecting with the kids via the Chromebooks and things like that, but they are connecting with the families or with the parents, either through email to the parents' house or to the parents' email. They're connecting through what's called a Remind app. They're connecting through Google Hangouts sometimes with the parents and the kids. So I need to ask a follow-up question, I guess, of my teachers, Mark, is how many kids have we not even made contact with? Because I think that number's going to be really small for the elementary. But I do need to ask that question, and I'll double check that.
Thank you, both principals.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay. Sue, when is our next board meeting scheduled for? Is Sue there? Is it the 20th? Okay, I just want to. And so I'm going to adjourn the meeting if no one else has anything to add. All right. So our next board meeting will be April 20th at 5 p.m., I would say. If anything like that is going to change, we'll make sure it is publicized. So I'd like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Tammy. And a second?
Second, Lucy.
Thank you, Lucy. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for participating in our first online board meeting. And I will see you all again on April 20th, unless we need